English by the Nature Method, Chapter 36. The 36th Chapter. The Early History of England. The same evening they were having coffee after dinner at the hotel, and talking about the tower, which they had seen in the afternoon, and about the king who built it. While they were discussing these things, they found that none of them knew very much about the history of England before the time of William the Conqueror. "Won't you tell us something about the early history of England tonight, Mr. Miller?" the young man asked the teacher. "It's raining now, and we are tired after having walked so much this afternoon, so if you're not too tired to talk, we should like very much to stay at home this evening and hear something about England and the English before the time of William the Conqueror." "No, only my feet are tired, not my head. It's tiring to walk about town on a hot day like today, so it will be nice to have a quiet evening at the hotel. Well, let us start at the beginning. As far back as history can take us, we must go back about 2,000 years to the time when Caesar, the Roman general, sailed to England with an army of Roman soldiers. That's a soldier. At that time the country was named Britain, and the people living in it were called Britons or Celts. Brown, when did the country get the name of England? Mr. Miller, it was not named England until several hundred years later. Rome in Italy, where the Romans came from, had conquered many of the nations of Europe at that time, and in the year 54 BC, before Christ, they had got as far as the Channel between England and France. In that year Caesar sailed across the Channel to Britain with an army of Roman soldiers to fight the Britons. An army of Britons under their general Cassivellaunus was waiting for them, and a great battle was fought near the river Thames between the two armies. The Roman soldiers were far too good for the Britons, but some time after the battle the Romans returned to their own country. About 100 years later, however, a large part of Britain was conquered by the Romans. For about 350 years Rome continued to send soldiers to Britain, and it was not long before the Britons and their conquerors became quite good friends. Storm, they brought many new ideas to Britain too, didn't they? Mr. Miller, yes. Britain, as you know, is an island, that is, a piece of land with water on all sides, and the Britons, therefore, had lived quite alone and had not learned all the new things which had come from the East. But now the Romans taught them many modern things. They made good roads through the country and built bridges across the rivers, but at last the Romans had to leave the country. Rome itself was in difficulties, and consequently the soldiers were called back. Storm, and then the Britons could enjoy all the advantages the Romans had brought them without having foreign soldiers in the country. Mr. Miller, no, for as soon as the Romans had left the country, the Britons began to have difficulties with the Picts and Scots, two tribes who lived in the north. These two tribes had always been the enemies of the Britons, but as long as the Romans were there, the Picts and the Scots had lived in peace with the Britons. Now they would not let them live in peace any longer. They sent armies down to fight with the Britons. They set fire to their towns and took their children away from them. This is a fire. The Britons could not fight them alone, because they had not done any fighting while the Romans were in Britain, and things went badly for them. Couldn't they get any help? Mr. Miller, yes, they sent word to 3 tribes living in northern Europe, asking them to come and help them fight their enemies. The 3 tribes were the Jutes, the Saxons, and the Angles. The Angles were the largest tribe, and from their name they all got the name of English. English liked the island of Britain so well that they stayed there after the war with Picts and the Scots was over. Storm, I can well understand that. I should like to stay a little longer myself. Mr. Miller, me too. Well, for the next 70 years, Angles and Saxons continued to come to England, as Britain is now called, from the continent. They conquered the greater part of the country from the Britons, whom they had come to help, and the Welsh, as the English called the Britons or Celts, had to go to the mountains in Wales to be able to live in peace. The tribes that came from the continent had at first several kings, but in 825 Egbert became king of all England. While he was king, the Vikings from Norway and Denmark began to come to England for 200 years. While he was king, the Vikings from Norway and Denmark began to come to England. For 200 years, the English and the Vikings were at war with each other, and the Vikings came nearly every summer in their long ships. They set fire to the towns of the English and sailed back with the ships full of the fine things they had taken from them. Brown, did the Vikings ever conquer England? Mr. Miller, yes, they did, and from 1016 until 1042 there were even Danish kings in England. In 1066 the Normans, who were Vikings, that had conquered the north of France and learned to speak French, conquered England, and William, who was now called the Conqueror, was made king. That was the last time that an army from the European continent conquered Britain. Many other countries have made war against England. Spain sent a large number of ships against her, but neither the Spaniards nor any other nations have ever conquered her after the Battle of Hastings in 1066. In our time, we can see how the different conquerors of Britain have left their impression on the country, on its people and its language. In the north and east of England, there are many towns with Danish and Norwegian names, for example, Derby and Grimsby, and the people use many old Danish and Norwegian words. In the English language, we find many words which the English have borrowed from the Normans, and just as the language is a mixture of French and Anglo-Saxon, the people too mixed with the conquerors. And the mixture is a good one, I think, but the Welsh, who went to the mountains in the west, did not mix so much with the different conquerors of Britain. The enemies could not cross the mountains, and therefore had to leave them in peace, so that today we find people in Wales who are quite different from the usual English people. They are darker, they like very much to sing and to play, and they all feel that they are Welsh, not English. But for several hundred years the three peoples, the Welsh, the Scotch, and the English, have lived in peace with each other in Great Britain. I should explain, however, that the Scotch do not like to be called Scotch. They themselves always use the word Scots. Storm, it has been very interesting to learn all this, and it has given us a greater understanding of the country we are visiting. It was a good thing that we stayed at home tonight.